Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is Sippin' Tea with Nat and Z. I'm Nat.
And I'm Z. Hello, hello.
What's up? What's up?
What it?
Going
Um,
on today?
uh, it's been like I was telling you during our prep this morning. It's been a day. I open my refrigerator, the damn handle falls off. Like literally, like I was like Superman. I was like, I don't know my own strength. The
There you
whole
go.
damn handle just broke off. So I spent this morning purchasing a refrigerator. There's no
Hmm.
black ink in my printer. It's just a mess. Today's just a mess.
It's okay. We still have a little bit to go, so it can,
It can look
you
up.
can look up, and it's nice
Mhm.
outside today.
Yes,
It's like 80
yes,
degrees today. I mean, it'll be 20 degrees next week, but it's 80 degrees today.
exactly. I mean,
So
small wins, small
yes,
victories.
small victories, small
Yeah,
victories.
when we're done recording, I'm gonna go. I gotta get a couple of things from the store. I
Hmm.
might get some plants
Oh
to put out.
yes.
I need plants that I can't kill. So so I need to figure out what those are because
Spider plants. No,
which
not
one?
spider plants.
Yeah, no, spider plants are the plants that they say.
Oh, okay. And there's another one that I can't remember right now that we have a bunch of them in our house, and you
Yeah,
really can't kill them.
because I have kill plants. I kill good
Succulents.
ones.
Can't kill succulents.
Yeah, yeah.
Those they pretty much stay alive for as long as possible. Okay, maybe you can kill succulents.
Oh, you can overwater
Overwatering.
them.
How
Oh,
much do
okay.
you water them anyway? I thought they're like self-watering. Anyway,
Maybe I'll just get a cactus.
they
That might be the
but
best. 'Cause-
cactuses can die too.
well, shit.
Unfortunately, I
I'm gonna
I
just get
killed a
some.
cactus. I don't know how you.
Then I'll just get some plastic ones and just put them out.
They're good. They're good to talk to, though. Good for the air circulation.
Yes. So
Girl,
we'll try. We'll see what we can get accomplished today.
sounds good. Sounds good. I went out last night for a friend of mine's dinner in the city, and went to a I guess local watering hole. And let's just say things have changed dramatically since I have been out and about.
Yeah.
I really wish somebody would tell these young ladies to put on some Spanx.
Oh,
And ooh, my goodness, get or yeah, it was just not cute. But then they're like in Crocs and fuzzy slippers and
what?
girl, I'm telling you, I was like, so we just not gonna dress up? No, okay. So we just okay, great. Like no f's given. Like I'm gonna just roll out the bed. If I would have seen a girl in a bonnet, I probably wouldn't have been surprised. Just, and then the guys were much better because they looked like they just came from the court. And I was like, so they just let
Like the basketball court
yes,
or a
not court,
courtroom?
not like U.S. Supreme Court in a suit. No, basketball court in some
Okay.
shorts. Yeah,
Okay.
so it was interesting.
Yeah, I have not been. I well, let's be clear and honest. I never was out in a. I never went out. I didn't. I just that whole time really just passed me. I just never really ever went out. But I think it's because I'm more of a homebody. I like to
Hmm.
just. I never had. I think I had FOMO for like a brief period of time,
Hmm.
and then I was going out to the clubs with y'all. And then it got to a point where I was just like, I'm done. I've done it.
Yeah, I
It's
was
been
out in the
real.
streets Monday through Monday. I went from one happy hour to the next happy hour. I lived up my 20s once I moved here like nobody's business. To the point, my boyfriend at the time would just come and pick me up, and people are like, "So your boyfriend just drops you off at the club and picks you up?" I'm like, "Yeah, because he's older. He don't want to go to the club."
I've always been an old lady. I don't know if it's the Capricorn in me.
It
I
was
just,
yeah. I
I
just
don't.
enjoyed being out. It was and people watching because and you see how people interact
Yeah,
with
yeah,
and then the and sometimes when you're in those settings, some flags about I don't need to talk to this person after the lights come on. Um, and you figure out why you probably should not continue talking to that person because you met them in the setting that you did.
well, then that's a good, but that's a good segue to what this whole podcast episode is about. It's
Mm-hmm.
flag on the play, relationship red
Flags.
flags. Yes, yes.
This.
So, um, let's get into the tea of the day.
Mm-hmm.
We're not experts. Uh, you could drink tea and it can give you some side effects if you're taking certain medications. We're not affiliated with any of these brands, nor are these endorsements. So,
All
what's on
right,
the
all right.
table?
So we are drinking mango hibiscus tea from the mintybongwater.com website. So I'm going to go over what type of tea it is and the servings. So it's hand blended and made with love by this gentleman named Terrell Davis. Serving size 1 teaspoon, steep it for 3 to 5 minutes. And in the container that we're talking about, there's 7 to 10 servings. So the ingredients are organic South African honeybush tea, dried organic mango, dried hibiscus, and it's caffeine free. So this guy that Z sent to me, he
I love
has,
him,
yeah, right? His voice, he was raised in the whole Bob Ross and what's his name? The other
Mr.
guy, Mr.
Rogers.
Rogers, and he has the same like monotone voice. How are you doing? What's going on? Wants to talk to you about plants, crystals, and tea. Gives you like little hugs and hey, how's your day going, friend? And it's such a nice little TikTok thing, and he just released his first tea this weekend, and it's already sold out. So he has merch and stuff. So go check him out. I think
Yes,
it's a really nice, soothing tea day, and
it
the music
is.
is bomb on the website on
It
his
is.
site.
It
You
really
know,
is. He is just a whole vibe.
completely.
And I was like, I went to try to get the tea,
Hmm.
and it was gone. So I'm going to try if he restocks. But I've had hibiscus tea before. It's delicious, but the way
Hmm.
he makes it, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, he
It
makes it from scratch, and you see how he does all the chutney and oh, I never thought of using a French press to make
I didn't
tea.
either. I was like, oh, he's a French press. I'm gonna have to go get one from IKEA because IKEA sells
Yes,
French presses and they're not that expensive. So
yeah,
I'm
I
gonna go
have
try
one. I
that.
have
Yeah,
a French press, and I enjoy it.
yeah.
So
I'm
now I'm
gonna
gonna
go
start
purchase
using that.
one. Yeah,
I highly recommend it, and just all this stuff fresh made from scratch, how he does it. I think y'all should check it out.
yeah,
It's nice. Total
yeah.
vibe. Total vibe.
So there's not a lot of hot tea because I take periodic breaks from social media
Hmm.
because I just can't. The only thing that really has happened and transpired um, of significance is the ASAP Rocky was arrested, coming back from Barbados with his child, soon to be child's mother, Rihanna. Apparently, this is stemming from um, what is it stemming from? A shooting that took place in
Yeah.
November
Hmm.
2021. He actually shot a friend, I believe. And,
Hmm.
and
Like shot
it
at him like
grazed
five
his,
times or something.
yeah, and one of the bullets shot his arm. And people were saying, oh, he's a snitch. But can you really be a snitch if you're a victim? No, you're not a snitch. Let's be clear. If you are a victim of a crime and you know who committed the crime against you, and you tell the police this is who committed the crime, you're not a snitch. Okay? That
Exactly.
is not the definition of snitching. Snitching is I am in a conspiracy with you
Right.
to commit a crime. We commit the crime, and then I snitch on you. I tell you, tell them that you did it.
Right.
That is snitching. Okay?
Hmm. And
So
I got a
let's
deal in the process.
right. I'm trying to get myself out of trouble.
Right.
Now, I could say they were friends and maybe he's hating because why are you telling it now that you know he about to have this billionaire's baby?
Right.
But again, you shot him.
But again,
So, I mean, he's telling the truth. But why are you telling the truth now? So there's this like really weird balancing thing that's going
hmm,
on here. I just wish that Rihanna just didn't. I don't like ASAP Rocky, so let's be clear. I
right.
don't. I never. I stopped liking him when
Yeah.
he. I stopped liking him when he said that whole thing about he doesn't understand like black people's plight because
Yeah. This is
he only
after the what was
Ferguson and like all
Ferguson.
that stuff. He's like, I'm fucking white models in Soho. So I don't understand that.
Right.
Mind you, you're from Harlem. So
How about that? And at the end of the day, you're still black
right.
and a black man.
Right. So I don't know. I never liked him, and then so when he got locked up in the IKEA prison over in Sweden,
Oh,
um,
that was him.
yes, and so when
Oh, he
he
stay in trouble.
I didn't sign a petition to help get him out.
Why would we sign a
I
petition?
didn't do anything. I was just like, "Meh, meh, eh." I don't feel sorry for him. So that's part of the reason why I do not care for Rocky. And then Trump got him out. It's just like a whole mess. So I really don't like that for Rihanna. I'm happy that she's pregnant, but I just wish it was by somebody else.
It's messy.
Yeah, and it's not my business because it's not my vagina. So, but
Hey,
still, I just feel like, ugh. And they were coming back from Barbados on their baby moon, apparently, and they got him at the airport. And at the same time, we're sending
mm.
a SWAT team to his house.
Yeah, I saw that on TMZ.
Yeah, so it's a little
It's just all around messy. Cause
right.
he
I
about to
just
be locked up, I think.
well, she got $1 billion. She gonna make sure her
That's
baby
true.
daddy stay out of jail. Let's
Yeah,
be
because he did
clear.
bond pretty quickly because they both got money, but of course she a billionaire, so
Yes. So let's be clear. They're
she gonna make
two
a way.
yes. They're two very quick blurbs that I do want to put out there. There has been a Will Smith sighting since the Oscar slap. He's in India, and I knew as soon as this happened, this man was going to go overseas.
Yeah.
Again, if you read his book, he talks about looking for higher purpose, trying to
Mm-hmm.
find himself, trying to better himself, and he usually finds it in these places where they have gurus and what is it, shamans and all of
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's in India now, and he looked Will Smith-ish. That's all I can say. He took pictures with people,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm hoping that he gets the healing that he needs.
Yeah.
And then the other blip is so if you don't know, Johnny Depp and Amber Heard are
Yeah.
in this area going through a $50 million, I think it's libel,
Yeah. Defamation suit with
defamation
Washington
suit.
Post, I think,
Yeah.
or something.
And so they're here, and like all of the tawdry details come out about their marriage. I'm usually
Mm-hmm.
team woman, right? I usually take the side of women. However, when this first came out, I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
this bitch tripping.
She little.
This bitch is tripping. Now, I'm not saying that Johnny Depp is like this very like wholesome man because this
Mm-hmm.
man had a whole bunch of issues.
Yeah.
Um,
I love
and
me some Johnny Depp though.
right, and she's very abusive. She
Yeah.
like cut his finger. All
Mm-hmm.
these kinds of
A whole
crazy.
bunch of other stuff that she did on the bed.
Yeah, like she shit on the bed and tried to
Yeah.
blame it on the dog. Like she's
Right.
like, something's wrong with this woman, right? And
Yeah.
she was mad because she was like, all he wants to do is sit around with his old friends and play guitar. But
He
Johnny
has a
Depp is a
band.
whole ass like almost 80 years old. Of course, he's going to be. He's done. He's partied. He's done it
Yes.
all. Like this man has lived. Okay,
To the
he's
nth degree.
he's had friends who have died of
Yes.
drugs, right?
In his
Like
club,
yeah, because he was with he
River
was friends with
Phoenix.
River Phoenix, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
The
this man
Viper
has done
Room.
it all. Very, and it has taken a toll. Because let me tell you, whew, 21 Jump Street, Johnny
Yeah,
Depp,
it is not this Johnny Depp. Like when he played Captain Jack Sparrow, he looked like Captain Jack
Jack Sparrow
Sparrow
in real
in real
life.
life. Now he just looked.
He didn't have to do too much.
No, he looks
Um,
old. He looks tired.
right. So he was trying to say that his relationship with her kind of kept him from being in the next Disney movie. However, Disney was already fed up with him, so they
Mm.
had already planned on going on with Pirates of the Caribbean 26 without him. But
Not 26.
I
There
mean,
are
because
there are that
clearly
many. There really
we
are.
didn't need all of those.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Mm-mm.
So I don't know. Oh, so the blurb. So her team said that she had been carrying this makeup palette in her purse by the makeup brand Milan, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
And she had been carrying it from 2014 to 2016 in her purse to cover up bruises, right? That Johnny Depp allegedly, and I don't believe it, and I'm gonna tell you why I don't believe it, allegedly did to her, right? Beat her up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And the company said, ah, 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 this ain't our business, but this is our business.
Mm.
That pallet that you toting around in the courtroom, we didn't actually make until 2017.
Oh.
So somebody from the company or a TikToker or something literally went to the courthouse to look for Johnny Depp's lawyers to give them the evidence.
What?
Yes, yes. So they told the lawyer, basically told the TikToker, like, just email us. They emailed it, but it was so big of a bombshell that even TMZ picked it up. That
Dang.
she's a whole ass liar because that makeup palette didn't come out until 2017, and she said she was using that palette from 14 to 16.
Oh my.
So
You
I'm
know, a
just
lot of people
saying,
are here for Johnny Depp regardless. You
right?
know, just cause. So.
Let me tell you, that man was. When I tell you the crush I had on that man, I forced my mom to buy me all these
What?
magazines so I could cut out all the pictures
Yes.
of Johnny Depp.
All
When we
of
used to
them.
do that and
Yes.
paste them on the
Do
wall.
people even do that anymore? Like from floor to ceiling. I had Johnny Depp 20. I had so many. My
I
one
don't
wall was
know.
all Johnny Depp. To the point my father was like, looky here. Who is this white man on your wall? Next to NSYNC and the other people, New Kids on the Block, and then Michael Jackson was in his little yellow vest um, poster with his hands in his pocket. You know,
Oh
so
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Girl, it
yeah.
was just Johnny Depp for me. It was always
Man,
Johnny Depp for
I
me.
love me some Johnny. I still
I
watch
don't know
21
if
Jumps. I still watch
I do
21
too.
Jump Street.
I do too. I don't know if he is still. I don't know if people still do that because they don't really make magazines like they used
Yeah,
to.
that's true. Everything's
And you have
digital.
Instagram and all that, and the kids just, you know, the
They
kids are the
should though.
kids,
I think that's part of the childhood that has been lost.
right?
Because I used to be so excited that I could like go in. That was like okay, and I no, it wasn't okay magazine.
Yeah,
Was it okay? Tiger Beat.
all those,
Yeah,
yeah,
Tiger Beat and stuff. So my whole room was. Mm, mm, mm. Those were the days.
those were.
Childhood was teen. That's when like being a teen was like, oh my god, he's so cute. Now it's like I am grown.
Right. I really want us to do, and I hope I'm so big on generation. I want to
Hmm.
do a podcast on the generational divide
Hmm.
because I had this conversation about recently about how it's weird how we've Gen X has raised these children
Hmm.
now who really cannot handle life.
At all. At all.
And I'm kind of confused because we were literally the generation that was like raising ourselves at 9 years old.
Yes, with the latchkey kids. So how
Latchkey
did this
kids and
happen?
all that. And maybe it's because we didn't want our children to be raised like us, that we raised them the way that we've raised
Yeah,
them. But it's weird because there's some lot of struggles going on
the
out here.
struggle
And
is like they don't know how to do anything.
they don't. It's like it's sad. But yeah, we'll talk about that at another time. But let's
Hmm.
go ahead and what, take a quick break, maybe?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
take a quick
okay.
break and we'll be right back.
And we're back. Yes, yes, it is tea time now, and the topic that we have on the table for you all is flag on the play, relationship red flags. This episode actually was kind of birthed from Black Twitter, right? Because we all know Black Twitter, a definite source of entertainment.
Oh my goodness,
And
yes.
and the Twitter thread that birthed this was like of no exception, right? It was of no exception. Like this had me kikiing for days because some of the things that people came up with were just too funny. And the thread was like red flags and relationships, and it was all the rage a few weeks ago. So I pulled out some of our favorites that I thought would entertain the masses. One of was like, if my dog doesn't like you, that is a red flag, and that is
It is. Dogs are
it, perceptive.
very perceptive.
Yes, yes.
Like children sometimes.
They are, right.
Hmm.
And I did somebody say if my child doesn't like you, but you don't really like, I don't think people should be introducing their children to their prospective significant other for a while.
Hmm.
But if after you vetted them, you introduced them and the child is like, I don't like them, you might want to pay attention to that.
Yeah. Hmm.
They said if he breathes, it is a red flag.
You know what? If he breathes, And how far did you get into the conversation for him to, or her to be, if they breathe?
If he breathes, that is a red flag. If they blame their poor behavior on their sign, facts.
That's a big one.
I don't want to hear that I'm this way because I'm a Libra or I'm this way. Now, mind you, there are some traits
Yes.
that are very, very, very true
Yeah, and
to the
very in sync.
signs.
Yeah.
Very. But don't blame your bad behavior on your sign all the time. That is definitely a red flag.
Right.
Um, if they say grand rising,
You know what? Grand
that is a
rising.
red flag.
Oh my gosh,
That
that's too
you may
funny.
be about to enter into a toxic relationship.
Grand rising.
And this one was my all time favorite. If they say, I usually don't do this,
You know
but
what? Okay, you usually don't do this today because it's Tuesday or because it's 3 o'clock on any given day. Which is it?
right. So, these are funny and they, they make us laugh. We get a good, few chuckles out of it. But it really is important to know that red flags are real
Mm,
and many of us ignore them until it's too late.
mm, mm.
We know that when people are in healthy relationships, they respect each other. They can talk honestly and freely to one another. They can share power and control over decisions. They trust and they support each other and they respect each other's independence. But in contrast, an unhealthy relationship is very much unbalanced. And so we are going to tell you some of the things that you may need to know. One, when you're dating, and then
Hmm.
one, if you've passed the dating phase and you've already missed a couple red flags, bitch, there's some more.
Didn't take the exit when
Right,
the flag
right,
was there.
right.
Yeah, the dating red flags. There's so many that we all ignore. I think because you don't know how much and how invested you're going to be in that person just yet. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that also is why we tend to ignore red flags because you're like, do I really care at this point? Because I'm just getting to know this person, or I needed a meal, or what have you. So do you care if they sit there and pick their nose or suck their teeth? I mean, yeah, I would hope so, but you see what I mean? Like certain things you're just going to ignore in the beginning, and then as time progresses, you may be like, oh, I may pay attention, but a lot of times we don't. Especially if they're always too busy or too tired to make plans. Like really, but you trying to get with me, but you're not. We're dating, but you don't have time to date. Then why are you in my circle?
And that is a huge red flag.
Yeah, very much
Because
so.
if somebody wants to be with you, if somebody wants to invest their time and energy in you, if they feel that you are someone who is um, somebody that they can build with, they're
Mm-hmm.
going to make time. Period.
Yes. Or and if it's the opposite, you could be on a Lifetime movie and that person could have a whole other family somewhere. Just saying.
Mm.
Because
Well,
that
that's
could
true
be,
too.
that's just think
That
about
could be
that.
the. See, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to look at it from like empowerment. Like, sister, if he don't spend time with you, but you looking at it from a whole. Oh, that man might have a whole ass
A
other family.
whole
So,
ass family somewhere. So just be
yeah,
mindful
yes,
about
be
that
my
because they,
yes.
and that's how a lot of times people don't realize that they're in a relationship that with someone that is already in a relationship because you're like, I didn't know this person existed,
Right.
and they don't initiate hangouts because they probably are with the other family. But I'm just saying. But if they don't try to set up things to go out, then isn't that the purpose of dating? Does anybody know what dating is? That's a whole other conversation because people don't know how to date anymore anyway.
They don't, and
So I don't think they
oh,
even understand. Or the initiate hangouts is Netflix and chill. What the hell is that? But I digress. They blow up your phone, but you rarely see them. So what is the point? Like you keep hitting me up, but we don't make plans to actually see each other in person. They take forever to respond to text messages, but you may see them on social media, and you're like, "But I just texted you, and you all the way posting and stuff." Now, don't get me wrong. When folks want their time to post, because sometimes you like, I don't want to talk to anybody, and
mm-hmm.
you see them out and about. and they still have not responded to you, they may just need that space.
Right.
But
I mean, but I would say there's a caveat, right?
hmm
If they are taking several hours or days to respond to a
yeah,
text, it really depends on what's going on, where you are in your relationship with them. And I'm not making justifications, but case in point,
hmm
you just meet somebody, you've had like a couple conversations,
hmm
and you text them and you say, "Hey, how are you?" And then like 3 days later, they're like, "Oh, I'm just seeing this." You know that's bullshit. And red flag, right?
yes,
But let's say you reach out to them and they are like, "Hey, how are things going?" Right? And it's several days, and they're like, "Hey, sorry, I'm just getting back to you.
hmm
I had some family situations that I had to deal with, and I'm just now circling back around." Maybe that's something
right,
that is as a transgression that you can
forgive,
forgive,
right,
especially if you're in the beginning stages,
yeah,
right?
agreed.
I feel like that's something that you can kind of like, okay, I get it. I
hmm
get it. You know?
Totally. And I think in DC, and this is just when I in my single days, when you were dating people and you were looking for red flags, you kind of had to hit them up like, so are you married and dating? Have a girlfriend and dating? Have a boyfriend and dating? Do you live with your baby mama? Like all those contingencies, all those things
Jesus.
come up to play, and you're like, okay, you know what? I don't know if this is the case, but I'm just speaking for DC because all those things are a possibility and dating red flags, but you may not know
Mm-hmm.
that right away. And then the big one, they're only down to sext, but can't have a deeper conversation. Like, seriously. I mean, sexting is great, but can we talk about something else sometimes? Just, I'm not trying to send you a picture of whatever, and I'm not trying to exchange pictures or whatever all the time. You got to have some sort of engagement, stimulating mentally, to get to that point where you want to be like, okay, let's take it to the next level.
Especially if you didn't start out that way,
That
right?
exactly, exactly.
Like if you just started out like
You
this
knew what
is
it
just
was,
right. You
when
know what it
you know
is.
what it is, then that's okay because you have a set expectation for that dating practice, and they get caught in a lie early on. Now, this is kind of like, what is a degree of lie? Like, is it like a
Yeah.
white lie? Like, I
Lie.
can't talk to you right now because my mom's on the phone and it could be his wife or his girlfriend. That's one thing. But, but is it a lie like, oh, I was going to get coffee today, so I didn't get to hit you back and you went to the grocery store instead? They're very different types
I
of,
feel like a lie is a lie. It but the caveat,
yeah,
as a woman, I'm not. If maybe I'll lie to you about where I live, just
fair
because I
enough.
don't
Yeah.
know who you are,
Mm
and I'm not very comfortable with letting you know where I live, or if I live with anybody,
hmm.
or
Right.
there may be certain things I may omit
Mm hmm.
just for my own
I
safety and
agree.
protection.
I
Okay,
agree.
it
I
could be
agree.
a man may have a very it may have a lot of, well, I don't even want to say that a person could have a lot of money and and they want to meet somebody who is
Right.
of substance that doesn't really care about their financial
Mm hmm.
standing, and so they may not be that forthcoming with how much money they actually
Make.
make,
Mm hmm.
maybe,
Or the
but
circles they run in because it may be like the money making circles.
right.
You know what I mean?
But I feel like if you have to start out even with the smallest lie,
Mm hmm.
then that is just going to
So let me ask you
triple.
this though. So if well, let me I'll talk, bring it up later. So the one big thing is they don't ask questions either.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like they don't
No.
care to ask anything. Then at that point, then why are you even talking to the person?
Right. If you're dating and this person, you're asking this person all sorts of questions about themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
then and they don't ask you shit, that's a red flag.
Yes. At all.
Like if you say, "Hey," I just look at it like this. If I'm dating and I'm like, "Hey, so who are your favorite, like, or we're just getting to know each other." Oh yeah, I just got such and such as I'm going to such and such concert in 2 weeks. He's one of my favorite artists. And they're like, yeah. I'm like, sometimes you just expect the person to be like, oh yeah, I love them too. You know who
Right.
else I love? Just
Right.
in the natural, organic
Conversation.
conversation. But if you consistently have to keep asking them things. They're not forthcoming with any information. They don't ask you any questions about yourself. If you are the one who's always giving information,
Mm-hmm.
then I think it's a problem. Like, because sometimes you don't have to ask questions because the conversation is just so organic. You find out all the information you need anyway, right?
Right.
But if you're like pulling teeth to get information out of them and they don't have any interest in anything that's going on with you whatsoever, I
Yeah.
feel like that's a big red flag.
And I think the combination of that, so let's say you ghost, they're, I won't say ghosting yet, but they blow up your phone, they're down to sext, and they're always trying to get a hold of you, but then you get on the phone and then there's no conversation. So
Right.
why did you pursue me all that time and it didn't move anywhere? But on the other end, there's the love bombing component where that person is in your face
Mm,
all the time and they excessive compliments, gifts all the time. You know, they want to hurry up and go steady. Do people go steady anymore? I don't know.
mm-mm.
Probably not. But they're like really trying to like encapsulate you with all of their attention. And
Right.
everything you do they want to do, which is a little scary.
Or all your interests are their interests. And I feel
Yes.
like, see, and I feel again, right? I feel like, unfortunately, when people get burned, right? When they have
Mhm.
a very bad experience, a very bad dating experience, sometimes we look at things that aren't red flags as red flags, right?
Mhm.
And I think there is definitely on the spectrum. There's courting and then there's love bombing, right?
Mhm.
But I think as we get closer to the middle, I think that's where people the lines are blurred, and
Right.
that's where I think some people get confused. Like, is this a love bomb, or is this man just courting me?
Yeah.
And sometimes it is hard to figure out,
Yeah.
but other times, most times, it is not. If I met you and by the end of the week you're already talking about something, wow, I see myself getting married to you, I see myself having kids with you,
Mhm.
I can't wait to buy a home with you. They're showing up. Like, if they buy you flowers, that's one thing. But if they're getting you flowers and then, like, I feel like if you went out on a date with them and they send you flowers, I don't see that as love bombing. I see that as
No. That's
courting in the
courting.
sense of, I enjoyed our time out, and here's a little token of my appreciation. But if with that flower is a damn
Tiffany
Tiffany's box,
bracelet.
or
Yes.
but again, there are some men out here who
Yes.
trick because they got it, and they
Yeah.
don't look at it as love bombing. They just like to give you lavish gifts. I'm in this
Mhm.
group, this Black Girls in Luxury group on Facebook, and this woman there, and I'm prefacing this because it was split down the middle. This woman went out. She was
Mhm.
having a really bad day. She was sitting at a bar. She had a drink. She's telling us a story. This guy comes up, is talking to her, and he's like, "Yeah, you look like you were having a really bad day." And she's telling him what happened, and he's like, "All right, come with me." They go to the mall, and he's like, "Buy what you want. Just get her whatever she want." Like, literally.
Wow.
And she did it. And some people are like, "Why would you do that? He was probably did it." And some people are like, "Girl, if he got it and he want to spend it, let him
Mhm.
do it." Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
that, hey, more power to you.
Mhm.
But I feel like there are things, sometimes people use their money and their ability to finesse you with their compliments and their
Mhm.
affection as a way to gain access to you and then gain
Yeah.
control of you.
Yes, that is very true. Definitely. And then I would say, if the root, waiters and all of their exes are crazy. Can't nobody's all of their exes be crazy?
No.
Like, there's just no way because there's two of you. There's a common denominator.
Right.
So, and you're only hearing there's your side, their side, and the true side.
Right. I To go back to what you said with the rudeness to the waiters,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. I feel like if you are rude to anyone in any service industry because it's not necessary,
Yes.
that is a huge red flag. To me,
Big.
that signals that you think you are better
Mm-hmm.
than everybody else. There's a way to get your point across if the service is poor, if if the server isn't attentive, if the food, like, there are ways that you can handle that
Mm-hmm.
without the rudeness. That to me is a huge red flag. I do
Yeah.
like seeing people being rude to janitors, to
Yes.
anybody in this. It bothers me.
It's just because you never know what people's life situations are, and you're making
No,
such a judgment, which is completely uncalled for, and
right,
that could be you tomorrow.
right.
You never know
Right.
at
The
all.
the the exes are crazy. I didn't realize that that was an issue until probably I got into my maybe like late 30s. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, and I really started to put things together, and that's just because therapy. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, no, and even if let's say all your exes are crazy, male or female.
Right.
Let's say every person you got with got some issues. It may be time for you to sit down and do some introspection and
And
figure
figure
out
out.
why you keep picking these people. You
Yes.
understand what I'm saying? Like,
Right. You trying to fill a void, or you try, like, what is it
right,
about
and that
them?
exactly, and that's why I think people say that that is, for me, that's why I say that's a red flag, because it could be true, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
nobody's perfect and we all have our shit. But if you keep getting into the same relationship with the same type of woman or man, it might be time for you to do some introspection to see,
Yes.
why am I getting into these situations all the time? Not to victim shame or to switch the blame,
Mm-hmm.
but we do have to take responsibility for our actions and the situations we find ourselves in.
Right. And the choices that we make.
Exactly.
And the
And one
choices
of
we
those
make.
is, if they were crazy, why did you miss all those red flags? Clearly.
Right. Yes. And I think the crazy one comes some unfortunately it's tied in with bad co-parenting, baby mama drama, baby daddy drama.
Mm.
Because a lot of times, and when I started dating guys with children, then I was like, okay, I heard about the baby mama crazy stuff, and then I experienced it, and I was like, oh, that bitch crazy for real. So it's some of that stuff is true, and then you look at why is the father not involved, and you realize it's because the mom is crazy or the dad is crazy. But then also, if they don't want to be involved with their children at all, that's
Right.
concerning. Or they have all the time in the world, and you're like, ain't you got kids?
Right.
Oh,
I'll say this. I'm a little sympathetic when I hear the crazy baby mama, right?
mm-hmm.
Because she ain't like, what happened that made her go crazy, right?
Crazy.
Now there are some
Yes.
women who
Yes.
start out as just unstable, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like in most, not all, definitely not all situations, but in most situations, when you get to the root of it and you have a conversation with someone and they say that baby mama is crazy, and you start to pull the layers back and try to figure out,
Mm-hmm.
it is because your ass and drove her to
Yes.
some level that
Thank
she
you.
could not, she just lost it because of
Yes.
you. And when children are involved, it takes that, it heightens everything
Yes.
emotionally, right?
Yes. You
And
can
so
have postpartum depression for five
it's a
years
whole
after
lot
birth.
of stuff that could happen. So, and I know this, after having a child, they treat hormones, your emotions. It takes a
Mm-hmm.
while to bounce back
Years.
emotionally. There are
Mm-hmm.
studies on this. I actually just got a card in the mail. It was like, hey, do you want to be in a postpartum study
Mm-hmm.
to talk about postpartum depression? And the age group was like 21 to 50.
And yeah, I did my thesis on it. I did my thesis on postpartum depression.
And I
And
was
it's
like,
real. Like
it
the
is.
age group, and that's why it's up to 5 years, if not longer,
Yeah,
that
some
these
people
things
don't
can
bounce
happen.
back.
They don't bounce
So
back.
when I say that, I say I always look at a situation where it's just like, okay, what's happening? However, I have seen situations where the parent makes it so difficult that the
Yes.
other parent just doesn't want to be involved. And
Mm.
typically it's the woman making it difficult, and the
Yes.
father decides, I'll just walk away, and when the child turned 13, hopefully come look good for me.
Yes. Yes. And
Unfortunate
I'm
as
here
it
to
is.
tell you that that is real. That
Unfortunate
is
as it
real.
is. So,
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but and then there's the whole if they have they're not motivated or they start benching and breadcrumbing you. So benching is when someone you've been dating stops agreeing to meet in person but continue to blow you up on social media. But, and then breadcrumbing is leading someone on with no intention of ever meeting them in person. And now, like, this is kind of what it is with the digital age now. So everyone, with the internet dating and stuff like that, and that's the only time you talk to them. But
mm-hmm,
that's also indicative they could have a family. I'm just
mm-hmm.
saying. Just people, families popping up.
Yes, true too.
And, but, even on one early red flag, should kind of heighten your senses. But a lot of times we're not in that, you know, state of mind. But because of that, we may be wearing rose-colored glasses and like, oh, he's so cute, he's handsome, or they're beautiful, they got a banging body, and you know, and then you just blinded by all of anything that's coming around.
Mm-hmm.
But here's some things to do if you start seeing red flags. Know your limits, try to stick to them as best as possible, and express them to this person while you're in the dating phase. Now, hopefully that is continuing and there's courting, analyze and assess whether you feel admiration. Like I said, is it like, are you just infatuated with the person? And where is that taking you? Or are you just letting things go because you're like, ooh, they have money, ooh, they're hot, and you just let things slide, you know? And your gut tells you something is off, trust it. Trust it, because a lot of times you can sense things. Your spirit may sense things that are not, you know, right in front of you because you have your rose colored glasses on.
Women's intuition is
Yes,
real.
it is. Let me tell. God gave us that for a reason.
Let me tell you, if you are a man and you are listening, let me give you a piece of
Hmm.
advice. Women's intuition is not a game. It
Nope.
is real. And
Yes.
if a woman comes to you
Mm.
saying let's have a conversation, or
Mm.
hey this, or hey that, she already knows. So
Thank
don't
you.
do yourself
Please
a
don't.
favor, fellas, and just
Please.
save yourself and just tell the
Yes.
truth.
If she start asking you questions all casual like, and you just like, hey, how was
Just
your day?
tell the truth.
What'd you do today? How was your day? What else? Let me tell you, she knows something.
And here's the thing, you just setting yourself up because you're like, you don't know what she knows. So you're like, I don't
Oh,
want to snitch on
mm,
myself. Just let it all out because it's gonna come out.
it's
I'm
gonna
telling
come.
you.
Yes, and you trying to figure out and broker what you think she knows, and you gonna get yourself in a whole hot tea water.
Yes,
Mm-mm.
yes, yes.
So,
Oh God.
but and if that's the case, and you're sensing all these things, ghost them. Don't be afraid to ghost them because clearly they ain't trying to come see you. So if you ghost them, okay, let's keep it moving. On
Right,
to the next one. On to the
right,
next one.
right. And let's say, we've given you this advice, and you knew some of this already, and you just was like, I'm just going to skip right on past these red flags.
I'm
You
gonna
go
zoom right past them.
right.
Right
I'm
past
just
them.
gonna skip my happy ass past all these red flags and get into this a relationship with this
Like
person.
an obstacle course.
You're right. Just know that the red flags in a relationship, like, they don't stop. The red flags,
Yeah.
if they were there dating, they will
Mm,
definitely be there in the relationship.
amplified.
Yes. So what are some of the red flags you may find in a relationship? And this is, I'll say this is a romantic relationship, but it could be
Mm-hmm.
a friend and a friend.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
could be parent, family, anything. There are ways that these can show up in other relationships other than your romantic relationships, right? So, the first one, inability to resolve conflict. That is a big thing. If you're constantly in a back and forth and you're never
Ooh.
resolving the conflict, that is a huge red flag. A huge red flag. And I feel like if you like some, and you could speak, I could speak to this from a married perspective, but like for people who are in relationships, like there has to be some give and take, right? Like you have to, if both of you are unable to resolve conflict, just cancel Christmas, go get you an attorney on retainer.
Pack it up, pack it in.
Because it's never going to happen. But if it's always one person has the inability to resolve conflict, that is a huge red flag. You're
Yes.
going to be banging your head against the wall because
Mm-hmm.
you'll never be able to move past whatever that situation is, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some people feel chaos equals love.
Yeah, that's all they know.
That's all they know. So they just like conflict and they'll continue to live in conflict,
Yeah,
right?
they can't do anything but being on like Love and Hip Hop, and they think that's love when you
Right.
acting crazy.
Absolutely. Or unfortunately, that's how they may have been raised.
Yeah.
They may have just seen dysfunction and conflict in their family. And so they've never been able to get the tools that
Mm-hmm.
were needed to help them learn how to resolve conflict.
Right.
If even if that is the case, that is not your bag. That is not your burden to carry. That person
Mm-mm.
needs to take it upon themselves to kind of figure that shit out. But
Hello.
you don't need to be there while they're trying to figure that shit out.
No, not.
Or
Mm-mm.
if you are there, right? If you're in a marriage and you are there, then maybe this is the time that conversation can turn to going into couples therapy
Mm-hmm.
so that maybe you can work it through with each other,
Yeah.
but I don't. I mean, conflict. It's that's a real one.
Right.
If the person has controlling behavior or lack of trust,
Mm,
you don't feel like you can fully be yourself.
that's a big
That is
one.
huge. You should be
Yeah.
able to be who you are authentically at all times. If you
Hmm.
cannot,
Yeah. If you can't swing from the chandeliers naked in your house with that person and they're not here for it, talking about go, baby, go, like, it might be time to dead it.
right, we have a friend, right? We have a friend who is married, who I have seen her be her authentic self wherever she is. Her
No.
husband would be right there and just shaking his head at all her shenanigans. She is fully herself at all
Completely.
times.
That's a beautiful thing, though.
It is
It's a beautiful
because he
thing.
just sits there and we laugh, and he's just like,
Yeah.
"Well, that's my wife,
That's
so it is what
that's
it is,
right.
and
And
it's
they
gonna
love
be what it's
and
gonna be."
love those things about you. Oh, I will say one thing, that the things that you love about a person in the beginning sometimes are the reason why you don't like them in the relationship. And then you don't see them as red flags because you're like, "Ooh, I like these things." And you're like, "You know what?" Like if you see a woman and she's independent and then you get married and you're like, "Damn it, this woman is independent." And it can cause conflict on both
Right.
sides. So that's just something else to kind of think about when you're looking on, the flip side of the
Right.
relationship.
Or you like, oh, my man always pop off. He don't let nobody disrespect him. And then y'all get married and then he bopping you upside your head because
Right.
again, he don't let nobody disrespect him. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? Like there
Mhm.
are just things that you just need to be mindful of. Um, your friends and family members have expressed concerns about your partner relationship. Caveat.
Mm.
That's a caveat.
Yeah.
Now, I say caveat because there are some family members who just ain't gonna be happy for you no matter who you with.
Hating ass
And
people.
so you just have to use some discernment as to what as to what is coming your way,
Mhm.
right? What advice? I've always been of the mindset, you like it, I love it.
Mhm.
Unless there's some like egregious things going on, like some serious like mess
Right.
going on
That you're aware of, because a
that
lot
I'm
of
aware of
times,
and that you tell me about,
right.
then I will express like, I don't like this for you. But for the most part,
Mhm.
I'm on my business and drink my water.
Hello.
If you're doing a lot, this is big. If you're conceding rather than compromising, that is
Mm.
huge.
Yeah.
There is a huge difference. Conceding is like you're always like, okay, case in point. Hey, I want to go to dinner. Okay, what do you want? I want Red Lobster. Well, I want Longhorn Steakhouse. Okay, we'll go to Longhorn Steakhouse the next time you go to dinner. Oh, you know what I would really like? I want Cheesecake Factory. Yeah, well, I want Longhorn Steakhouse. Okay, we'll go to Longhorn Steakhouse. Oh, you know what I really want to eat today? Ocean Prime. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, I want Longhorn Steakhouse. Okay, well, that is conceding.
Yeah.
You're never getting what you want. And that's a very, like, childish and trivial example, but that is conceding. And
Yeah.
it gets bigger. You're arguing and you just concede. You're
Mm.
right. You're right. You're
Right.
right. You're right. You're right. Yep. That's exactly
Mhm.
how it is. Yep. Okay. I don't want to spend our money on that. Well, we're spending our money on this. I don't want to
Right.
spend our money on that. Well, we're spending. There's no compromise. It's just you
Right.
conceding your control. You just conceding power. You conceding your voice. You have no voice in this relationship, and you just do
Mhm.
whatever that person wants. And a lot of times people do that because they just don't want to
Argue.
argue. They
But
don't
I
want
will
conflict.
say, yeah, I will say though, if you can sometimes, depending on where you are in the relationship, to protect your peace, sometimes it's best to concede. Because you're like, you know what? Go ahead. Go over there and do what you need to do. Because right now, for what I need, it's not healthy for me to engage in this behavior. But doing it all the time, like we've said. But there's sometimes when I think it's okay to concede because you're like, two plus two is six. Okay, great.
I
Run
feel
with
like
that.
right. I feel like there are certain situations, but I feel like when those situations happen, they are small. They're not that major. They're not going to
Hmm.
crack the foundation,
Right.
right? Like, and I think that that's the key thing here. When your foundation is strong, everything else is
Stable.
right.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, sometimes you may just like, you know what, this is so stupid. I'm
Hmm.
just not even going to engage in it because it's not worth.
Right.
It's
The
like picking your
energy.
battles, right? When
Picking
they tell you to pick your
exactly.
battles,
So there's a
but
difference with
there's a
that.
difference because if you're constantly conceding, you will lose yourself.
Right.
You will lose yourself.
And
You
I
won't
think
have
all women have been
integrity.
there at some
Yeah.
point.
You're going to compromise morals.
Mm-hmm.
The conceding is going to be disruptive to your life.
Yep.
If your spouse is always with these quick rich get quick rich schemes,
Mm.
and they're always taking your money, oh, let's get some bitcoins.
Right. Hey, let's use
Oh,
your 401k to buy some more Bitcoin.
yeah, how about we do, if they're always doing that and you're just like, okay, 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 that
Yeah.
is abuse actually. And a lot of
Yeah.
people don't think it is, but it's
Mm-hmm.
abusive.
It's a form of it.
Which abuse of any kind is an
Yeah.
issue: emotional, verbal, physical, sexual, financial, gaslighting. Oh Jesus, we're
That
gonna
one.
have a
Thing on
whole,
gaslighting. Whew.
that is huge.
Make you think you're crazy, but
Right,
you know you're in your right mind.
right. You start to see that there are increased symptoms of mental or physical health problems. I was fit and thick before we got together, and now I am fat
Whew.
and
In LA.
and mentally unstable. Something
Right.
ain't right.
Something's
Something ain't
not
right.
right. And we're not
Something ain't
talking
right.
about like the little extra bit of weight that you gain because y'all been booed up and all of that and you just eating good and not that, not that. Mm-mm.
We're not
Just when
talking
it's,
about that.
yeah, we're talking about when it's causing distress in your
Right.
body. Yeah.
Anger management issues and lack of emotional
Mm,
regulation. This is what I was saying when you like, ooh, I like my man. He always gets turned up. He
mm,
always pop it off. Like he don't let nobody disrespect him. Cause he,
mm-hmm.
I ain't. We go out. I ain't never got to worry. Cause he ready to set it off wherever we at. No, no, no.
That is not
Flag on the play.
yes. Flag on the play.
No. Survey says, no, no.
Yes.
Okay, that is, that person has some serious anger management issues. Anybody who goes
Mm-hmm.
from 0 to 60 with no break in between has
That's
anger management issues. Anybody who has a lack of emotional regulation, if you cannot regulate your emotions, that is a red flag. If you're mad at something, we've seen people do this, right? You get mad at something that
mm-hmm.
I'm not involved in at all. I don't have any. I wasn't there when it happened. I didn't know that it happened. And you get mad, and you're more so mad at yourself that something happened, but you take it out on me.
Right.
That is lack of emotional regulation.
Yeah. I mean,
Why?
everybody has bad days,
Yeah,
but
but if you're
continuously.
consistently doing this, like I'm like your target
Yeah.
because you don't want to take accountability for your fuck up. So you want,
Mm-hmm.
but you want somebody to take accountability for it, but you don't want to hold yourself accountable. So you're gonna put your anger issues on somebody else
Yeah.
because somebody has to be accountable for it, and it ain't gonna be me.
Yeah. And yeah, that's just not cool.
Issue, codependency issues.
That's a biggie.
Woo!
That's
We
a
probably have a, we
biggie.
could have a whole podcast topic on that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people who are still married, still in relationships 20 years later for the basis of codependency and
Mm-hmm.
codependency alone.
Right. I get it.
Why
I
are
do get it.
y'all, if we're in a relationship and I've expressed that I've wanted to get married and we done had 4 kids
Mm,
and the oldest is 18 and we still not married, what the fuck is going on?
not 18. That's a common law marriage. Y'all married already.
What the fuck is going on? That's codependency right there.
Oh,
Both of
mm,
y'all are
yeah.
codependent. Something ain't
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I think that's everybody's codependent at some point. It's just a matter, do you recognize what that is? But if it's part of your makeup and that's all you know, telling someone they're codependent, they're like, "What?" They don't understand that. So they're just it's a learned behavior, but they don't understand that that's where they are presenting.
Right, right. We talked about lack of emotional regulation, but that's also lack of emotional intelligence. The person refuses to apologize. I mean, hello.
Ugh, lack of
That's
empathy
right.
goes
They
along with the
use your
intelligence.
insecurities or past mistakes against you. Huge red flag. That's abusive.
Yeah. No, no, no good. No good.
Isolating you from your support system, that is also
That
abusive.
is huge. If they start isolating you and they trying to use it as like, oh, I just want to be around you all the time, and you just aren't in the same frame of reference with your
Mm-hmm.
social networks or family, and it's the same that I said before, like when you're like the honeymoon phase, not that. Not when you like boot up and you don't see the light of day because y'all always together. Not in that situation. We're talking into the
But
relationship.
even that, you have made the decision to isolate yourself from your support system. If they're forcing you to isolate yourself, that is a
Mm-hmm.
whole different
Other.
dynamic, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like, people, these are definitely signs, because like people will use, like you said, your insecurities and your mistakes against you as they weaponize them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they weaponize them because they are insecure about the shit that they've done. They still suffer shame. And instead of dealing with that shame, they want to push their shame on you, especially if you're a healed person, or
Mm-hmm.
on the way to be healed
Right. That
person. If you've
journey.
worked through and you're on that journey and that path and they are not, a lot of people can't handle that, because why do you get to move past your shame, but I'm stuck here? Because you're not doing the work. And that is not your
Mm.
bag. That is not your bag to carry,
Exactly. If you're
okay?
not
You know
doing the
what
work.
Erica said, bag lady, you gonna hurt your
Yes.
back. Dragging all them things like that. Okay? Some
Yeah.
people like chaotic love.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
Some
they.
people thrive in chaotic love. A lot of people that isolate you from your support system, they don't have friends.
Mm.
Look at that. And that is a
Woo!
huge red
Booyaka.
flag. That is a huge red flag. If you're dating somebody and they don't have no friends,
That
abort, abort.
abort mission. Abort mission. Because how
Where
can
is
they
the
relate to
eject?
you if they don't relate to
Right.
anybody else?
Where is the eject button? I
Yeah.
need it out of here. Garcon, check please. Garcon, check please. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and I am somebody who is very, if your family are the only friends you have now. Granted, there are people who still come from very big families, and so they
Mm-hmm.
have cousins, and their cousins are their friends. But if you don't have any other friends other than your family, that is a red flag to me personally.
Mm.
I'm not saying there's got to be a red flag for you, but if you just friends with your family and that's it, you don't have any other friends.
Mm. That's a little concerning.
If we're a whole 45, 46 years old, and if
Mm.
the friend, your oldest friend, is 5 years old,
Wait.
I'm not 5 years old as terms.
That is a
The
red
length,
flag. That
right?
is a
That
red
is a red
flag, though.
flag.
Yes.
The length of your relationship, your friendship, is 5 years old. That is
Yeah.
a problem. Why are you 46 years old and the oldest friendship you have is 5 years? What is
Right.
going on?
Right.
The math ain't mathing. If
Right.
you
Unless you
always
work for the CIA and you can't reveal what you do and you need to
the
make up a
math ain't
story.
mathing.
Yeah.
You always got a new friend. The math ain't
Always.
mathing.
Or the,
Oh, one more thing, and then before I go about how to approach it, if you're dating, because we didn't talk about this, if you're going, let's go back to the dating part. If you're dating and you're getting to know somebody, like some people, they don't mind at this, especially at this age that we're at. You're gonna
mm-hmm.
probably have to date somebody who has a child
Yeah.
or two, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because they may have gotten divorced or whatever.
Right.
But if we're dating and we're sitting at the table, I'm like, oh, do you have children? Yeah, I have children. Do you have children? Yes. Well, how old are your kids? Oh, my kids are uh 6 and 10. Oh, okay. How old are your kids? Oh, the youngest is 2 months. Flag on the play.
Hello. Girl, if I could stand up and circle around this desk and say yes, because after my dating this individual who had a child under 5, and the bitch was crazy, like she really was crazy. She stalked me. I was like, no more dating of anybody with children 5 and under because of that craziness.
Don't do it.
Yeah, don't
Save
do
yourself.
not
Two.
do it.
And
Don't
there
do
are
it.
people who actually are out here in these streets dating with a whole 1 month old at home. What, sir? I'm sorry. What is that about?
Yeah. Mm.
Or, oh yeah, I'm about to have one on the way. My baby mom pregnant. What? What?
I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry. What do you mean?
Garcon, check please.
Right. Or you have 2 kids that are months apart on the way.
Check please.
That's a little concerning.
Check please. But no, in all seriousness, if you notice some red flags in your relationship, here's how to approach them. Acknowledge your own needs, communicate, avoid being overly emotional, seek professional help. Yes, therapy. Be honest with yourself. Boundaries, people. If somebody's constantly line stepping and crossing your boundaries, red flag.
Hello.
Set boundaries, stick to your boundaries. And then this one, know when to leave. I hate this one, but it is true. But there are some women who are in abusive relationships. that it's just there are other things going on that it's just like it's easy for you to say you should leave, but it's
Yeah.
harder for them
Yes.
to leave.
Be mindful of that
Right.
because it's
But
not as easy as some people think.
right. So we hope we've given you some entertainment as well as some facts you can use.
Hmm.
If you are currently dating, maybe you want to run that back, run the tape back, and say, is the person I'm dating exhibiting any of these red flags?
Right. Or a
Hello.
combination thereof.
Hello. Or if you are currently in a relationship and you're like, Z and that mentioned some things that kind of, I
Mhm.
don't know. I gotta go back. I gotta go
Right.
back. Look at the tapes because the math ain't math right now. The
At
math ain't
all.
mathing at all. But we're going to take a quick break and come back with our last sip of the day. And we're back. This is the last sip of tea with your hood Dalai Lama, and I am your hood Dalai Lama. Ignoring the signs is a good way to end up in the wrong direction. That is attributed to an unknown source. I don't know who said that, but that is a facts.
Facts. Facts.
A whole lot of
On
facts.
so many levels. It means so many different things.
Yes, okay. So, some relationships are not good for us. They damage our well being instead of making it better. Some can even be toxic, and it is important to recognize the red flags. It doesn't matter if it's a romantic relationship or a new relationship with a colleague. Knowing how to identify red flags is important. Toxic relationships can be a vacuum of energy and happiness, but there are ways for us to learn defenses against these unhealthy dynamics, like Defenses of the Art and Harry Potter. Relationships can only thrive when everyone involved is being met with the same love and kindness that they are giving out. And that is the last sip of tea with your hood Dalai Lama.
I love the Harry Potter reference. Very well put. Thanks for joining us this week on Sippin' Tea with Nat and Z. As you know, you can follow us on Instagram at Sippin' Tea _ Nat and Z _ pod, and on Facebook at Sippin' Tea Nat and Z to get information on upcoming podcasts, topics, guests, and news. So thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next episode. Have a good week, y'all. Watch out for them flags.